Hi everyone. I'm glad to see so many different countries and continents here. So we have North America, we have Europe, we have Africa. Based by the names, it seems like we may even have Asia here today. We had another meeting yesterday. We had 25 people, again, all around the world. And honestly, I was a little uneasy as to how prepared the students are. But after yesterday's meeting, I'm very confident that most of these students will do extremely well. In fact, we had a few students, and I'm sure we have some of those here today, who are so smart, so articulate, that even my university students, not all of them are this good. So hopefully it will go very well. Here's what we're going to do today. So I am going to talk a little bit about the XCulture project in general, just to make sure that you know what that is. And then we will talk a little bit about the process so that you know what to expect, how it goes, what you need to do next, and then questions and answers. So if you would like to ask any questions, go ahead and ask them anytime. So feel free to interrupt me at any moment. Just unmute your microphone and talk. At the same time, while you're not talking, perhaps it would be a good idea to keep your microphone muted, because otherwise we can sometimes get the sound feedback, so it can distract whoever is talking at that time. So mute your microphones if you're not talking, but feel free to unmute them and chime in and make a comment, question, observation at any time.
Okay, may I interrupt you?
Yes, please go ahead.
This is the first question right now because
Nice.
It's about the age. I'm representing my child of 10 years old. I
Right.
see adults here, so I'm a bit confused.
No, everything is good. So that was Aelita? Was
Yes.
that? Yes.
No, this is Eileen.
All right. Oh, okay. This is Aelita. All right. No, there is no problem there. In fact, let me start with that. So the XCulture, well, first of all, some of these people here are actually from my executive team. So you see here Aurimas. So he's one of the executive directors. He is not participating as a student. He is one of the organizers, managers of the project. The same thing goes with Hendrik. Hendrik is one of the helpers from Australia. And then the same thing goes for Casey. She's in Kansas. So all of them participated as students, as university students a long time ago. And now they're helping us run the project. And then the other man with the children in the background, he's a teacher. So he will be participating, but as a teacher. So, but still talking about the age. Originally, XCulture was designed for university students. And so, for example, this semester we have about 5,000 people. About 2,000, maybe 3,000 of them are MBA students. So they are 25, 30 years old, and maybe even some are older. And then the other 2,000 or 3,000 are university undergraduate students. So they are, 20, 21, 25. The oldest participant this semester is 68, if I remember correctly. But those are university students, and they participate separately. So they have somewhat more difficult challenges. They have separate teams, so they will not be interacting with the younger participants. Then we have a group of people whom we call professionals. Those are people who have been participated for many years now. And most of them are adults. They are 30, 40, 20 years old. And they may have jobs, but they would like to gain international experience so that they have a better chance of getting a good job. Or maybe if they want to go back to school, like get an MBA degree, they think it will help them with the resume. Or sometimes they may be students, but students from, let's call it, wrong universities that are not participating in XCulture. And so they still wanted to participate, so they applied individually. And again, we keep them separate as well. So in a sense, they participate in the same university program. They will be working on the more difficult challenges like everybody else in the university program, but they will be in separate teams, not mixed with the younger participants. And then finally, and most importantly, we have a group for the first time. We have a group of children. So we recruited children ages 9 to 17, but it seems like the youngest one is actually 10 and the oldest one is 15. And so they will participate in the XCulture Academy, basically teenagers, children track. Again, they will be kept separate, and the teams that they will be put on will be matched by age. So if somebody is 10 years old, that person will be on a team with people or children who are also 10 plus or minus 1 year old. If somebody is, let's say, 14, they will be in a team with children who are 14 years old. So yes, Babu wanted to say something. Please go ahead. No need to ask. Just unmute your microphone and go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Hi.
Yes.
This is Babu. I'm a parent here. I have my child, Christus, who wants to say something.
Yes, go ahead, Christus.
Hi, my name is Christopher and I'm from Washington. I go Jefferson Elementary School.
Wow. That's
And-
what I'm talking about. You know, like if you ask my students to introduce themselves, they will be shy. They will not know what to say. And here is Babu, and he introduces himself like that. Very good, Babu. That's exactly the type of children we're looking for. We had several like you yesterday. I mean, very smart, very smart. Very nice to meet you, Babu. Do you have video? Can we see you? Babu?
No, we're trying to get it. Yeah, I'll let
That's okay. That's okay. We will meet you in Italy at the X-Culture Symposium, perhaps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So, and then as I said, we have a whole separate children's track, and that's the first time we are doing it. We did a little test in the spring just to see if it works, and it was fine. So we had just a few kids. Now we are going to try to test it with a larger team. We still want to keep it to about 5, maybe 10 teams total, just so we can see how it works, develop all the details. But that's what most of you are here for. So we have university students, we have non-student professionals, and we have children.
So you have answered. The frightening question was, this is not exactly our group. We are not divided yet, right?
No. This is everybody who is not a student here.
Yes.
So this meeting today is for what we call the X-Culture Academy. And so here we have parents, teachers, children, as well as non-student professionals, just because they may have the same questions that you have. Since so the big difference is that the university students, they have professors. And so they don't have to apply directly, the professor applies on their behalf. And if they have questions, they go to the professors and they deal with the professors and get all the answers. But children, parents, teachers, and professionals, they apply in most cases individually. And so that's why we wanted to have an orientation session for them, because they don't have a professor who will explain everything to them. So, but yes, your child will be on a team with children of the same age. And so sometimes you may see other parents, other teachers, but your child will interact only with the children of the same age.
Yes,
Yes.
but do we have any non-professionals here? Would it be easier if we can find out if we have some non-professionals here?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Do we have anyone who is participating as a student but is older than 18 years of age? We may actually not. We don't have that many of them in this meeting. We had a lot of them yesterday.
Okay.
And most of them, so I send them the handbook, and it's a very thick but very detailed document. So I suspect most of them, you know, they are mature enough to read and understand all the details.
Because I believe today we have only X-Culture Academy guys.
Right. Could be, yes. Though I did invite a few professionals, so we'll see. If they show up, don't be alarmed. So as I said, the information I will be given to you is basically the same that I would be given to them. So anyway, the project originally was designed for students, but we have also children this time. And so we'll have to see. Let me just see. Somebody's trying to dial me in. Let me switch my phone here. So that's my assistant, but I'll talk to her later. All right. So now, in terms of the history of the project, so the project has been around for about 7 years. It's year 8. And so quite a lot of people participate in it. As I said, this semester we have about 5,000 students, 144 universities, if I remember correctly, 43 countries. So, but that track is, you know, we've done it many times, so we know how it goes. With the children, we're still sort of experimenting. And so we will probably try to keep it as similar as possible to what the university students do, but it will be much simplified. So we have selected 2 companies this time, and we selected them specifically to be appealing to the children. So there is one company from Lithuania, by the way. The company is called InnoSpark, and it makes toys. It makes educational toys. And so they are asking children for help, with designing toys. And so there will be 2 components to the task. One is basically designing the toys, but the other one is somewhat kind of a business component. So the children will be not only asked to help them design new toys, but also will be asked to pretend to be managers of the company and design a strategy for selling them. So think a little bit about how would you advertise them, where would you try to sell them, what price would you impose, And obviously, we would not expect too much from the children in terms of, the genius business ideas. But the hope is, who knows, maybe they'll come up with something interesting. So maybe they will think of a feature for a toy that the company didn't think before. Maybe they will think of a creative way to promote it. So we'll see how it goes. So here, the company is not necessarily expecting some genius ideas, but we would like to see what the children come up with. Who knows? Maybe they think differently, and maybe they will have some interesting ideas. The other company is called the Finnish Schools International. It's a company from Finland, and they have offices in a few other countries, including, like, for example, in Kosovo, and now trying to open one in the United States, and I think they have one in France. And so what's unique about that company is it's a network of private schools that use the Finnish system of education. You have probably heard that Finland has a unique education system. It's very effective. The children from Finland score very high on the international tests. And so what this school, or what this organization does, it opens private schools that model the Finnish system, and they literally expatriate teachers from Finland. So if you, for example, go to that school in the United States, your teachers are still from Finland. So they basically copy as much as possible the real Finnish system. And so the type of help they need is they would like the children to try and design the school of their dreams. So they basically say, if you could design a school, any school you want, what that school would look like. How would you teach the children? What kind of subjects would you have? How would you select the teachers? How the building would look like? So basically design the school that you would like to go to yourself. And then obviously, again, as always, we will have a little business component. So it will be, all right, so you have this wonderful idea for the new school of your dream. Where you think this school would be popular? In which country would parents want to send their children to a school like this? How would you promote this school? How would you essentially advertise it? So there will be a little business component as well. And again, we don't expect any revolutionary ideas from the children, but who knows? I mean, the school is something they attend. So if anyone knows how to improve it, that could be children. So who knows? Likewise, on the business side, I don't know. I mean, we have some smart business professors here and company managers, and they sort of know a lot about management and marketing, but maybe children will come up with some interesting ideas. And so we will see what comes out of it. And so obviously for the younger children, the expectations will be much, much lower. So as long as they tell us something, we are happy. So it's more about working in the team and trying to, think about the problems and trying to come up with something. For the older participants, obviously the expectations will be higher. So those who are 14, 15, 16, 17, they will have to provide a little bit more in-depth analysis and a little bit, more detailed answers. And then obviously for the students and professionals, we expect basically a full-scale business plan. So they know how to do it, and so we expect very detailed answers. So the way it will go is the following. The next 4 weeks, we have what we call a theory training. And so the main goal here is obviously to prepare the children for the project. Unlike students, children have not received much training either in teamwork or in business. And so over the next 4 weeks, we will teach them how to work in a team, how to communicate across cultures. We will teach them how to use the online collaboration tools like Dropbox, like Google Docs, how to initiate a Skype conversation, for example, if they decide to do so, leadership in the team, things like that. There will be 4 weeks of theoretical training, and at the end of each week, we will have a theory test. And I will be honest with you, the parents and the teachers, even a more important reason for the theory training is not so much to teach the children, although that is obviously the main goal, but an equally important goal is selection. The biggest problem in international teams is what? So do we have any children here? Aelita, you were very smart. Babu, guys, would you tell us, for example, what do you think the biggest problem will be? What do you think will be the biggest challenge in your team once you work in it?
It's a problem of connections, different cultures. It's always some problems.
That is number 2, actually. So that is a challenge, and we will teach the children how to deal with it. But that's number 2. What is number 1? Anyone knows?
I think that people don't share their work with each others.
Exactly.
And they shy to share their work with each others.
Yes, people not sharing the workload. So Tatiana gets a gold star. So, all right, very good. Yes, exactly. So the biggest problem is that sometimes people don't deliver. So they sign up to do the work and then they disappear. And with the university students, we are not too worried about that because they still have to get the grades. And so they cannot just simply disappear because they need to get, submit something to the professor. But with children, we are a little worried that many of them or some of them may sign up. It seems like a good idea, why not? But then a lot of work comes their way and they perhaps, get overwhelmed or maybe lose interest or maybe lack discipline and they basically stop working. And if that happens, the whole team suffers. So one child lost interest, the other 6 team members suffer. And so to make sure that we only place on teams the students who are really motivated, who are really disciplined to do the work, who will not drop out, who will not leave their team, we have these 4 weeks of training with 4 tests just to make sure that the students can work, week in, week out, every week and deliver a little test and answer the questions. At the same time, it will also test them for the English skills. So hopefully if they can understand the videos that we have in the training, the documents, the training materials, that probably means they will be able to communicate with the team members. If they can answer those questions, they probably have enough mental capacity to understand the materials. And at the same time, again, if somebody fails the tests, again and again, obviously we'll give a second chance, but if it doesn't work, maybe that person needs to train a little bit more and maybe grow a little bit before he or she can participate. So I do not expect to lose many children, but you, the parents, the teachers, the children, you would not want to have someone on your team who is not prepared enough, who is not committed enough. So you don't want those, as we call them, free riders on your team. And so that's what we will be kind of testing and selecting for over the next 4 weeks. So the goal here, as I said, is to make sure that everybody who is participating in this project is properly prepared and properly motivated. So hopefully everybody will pass, but we'll have to see. Then after 4 weeks of theoretical training, we will know who is ready and we will place those students on teams. As I said, we will match them by age and we will try to design the teams in a way that every team member comes from a different country. We will have to see what countries we have on the list in the end. It is possible, I hope we will not have to do it, but it is possible that maybe there will be people from the same country or there will be multiple people from the same country on the same team. Like for example, now I see we have a few people or more people from Ukraine than from other countries. So it is possible that maybe we will have 2 students from Ukraine and maybe 1 from Kenya and maybe 1 from the United States and maybe 1 from Ghana, for example, or maybe from Lithuania and so, or Germany. And so this way we will have some cultural diversity, but it is possible that we may have to put multiple people from the same country on the team, depending on what those final numbers look like. And then once they're placed on teams, they will receive the names and the contacts of their team members. We will send and share the contacts and the names of the team members only within the team. So your child's name and contacts will only be sent to the other 5 or 6 parents and their children and nobody else. So only we see here and then the team members. And we will initiate the contact by email. So the reason we go with the email and not other tools is because everybody sort of knows how to use email and everybody has an email account. If they don't, if your child is still too young and doesn't have one, you would have to create one so that we can communicate with your child and they can initiate the contact with the team members. During the training, we will teach them how to use other tools, like for example, how to use Skype, Google Hangouts, Viber groups, WhatsApp closed groups, Facebook closed groups, Dropbox, Google Docs, Doodle, all those wonderful tools that are available for free and are wonderful and great for working in teams. But then ultimately it is up to the team to decide how they want to communicate. When we look at the student teams, most of them use email all the time, but almost all of them would use something else in addition. So most of the teams would definitely share documents in Dropbox or sometimes in Google Docs. Most of them would have a group, like a live group, either in Viber or WhatsApp or Facebook closed group. So some of them experiment with more advanced tools like Slack or Trello or Basecamp. So with children, we'll have to see. So it's possible that we will just rely on email and maybe occasional group meetings in Skype. But again, if they would like to try something more advanced, they will know how to do it, and we encourage that. It's very important that the parents and the teachers, especially of the younger participants, kind of keep a close eye on what's going on there. My own children will be participating too. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. And so with my son, he's mature enough, so I don't think I will be helping him much. So when the time comes to do a weekly test, for example, or when he needs to communicate with his team members, I will still check what's going on just to make sure that everything's fine, but I don't worry about him too much. He communicates with people all around the world already. He is an avid video gamer, so he interacts with people all the time, so I'm not too worried. But my younger daughter, obviously, I will check all the correspondence. I will probably help her compose some of the messages. I will probably remind her about the tests. She's not as mature yet to remember all of that. So she probably will remember most of the things, but I'll definitely remind her every week, oh, don't forget you have a theory test this week, or don't forget you have to submit your progress review today. Let me see what you have. Maybe check if everything's fine, I'm happy. If something's not good enough, maybe I'll say, well, maybe you want to work a little bit more on this section, so maybe it needs a little more work. When she will have a Skype conversation with her team members, obviously I will be present, maybe not in front of the camera, but behind the camera, but we'll still make sure that she feels comfortable and does well. So obviously those of you who have children who are 9, 10, 11, you need to be involved a lot in that. If your child is like 16 or 15, I don't think you need to worry about that, but still keep an eye on what's going on. So once they're placed on teams, the initial contact will be by the email, and then it's up to the team to decide how else they want to communicate. We hope that the children are mature enough to make that decision together via email, and so we specifically do not tell them what to do and how to do it, so the whole purpose is to put them in a situation where they have to make those decisions themselves. You will be surprised how good they are at that. So they will probably be, they'll start communicating by email, and then somebody will say, do you want to have a live conversation on Skype? What is your Skype ID? Let's add the contacts. Or maybe somebody, and we will teach them how to do it, will initiate a Google Hangout and send a link to everyone and say, okay, just click on this link and let's meet up. Or maybe let's have a closed group in Facebook. So do you have a Facebook account, or do you want to create a WhatsApp account, and let's communicate there? Again, so we'll see how it goes, and they may need some help, especially the younger ones, but at this time it looks like they should be fully capable of managing themselves. We do not appoint a team leader, so again, it's up to the team to decide how they want to distribute their workload. We sort of prefer that everybody is equal, but again, if somebody emerges as kind of an informal leader in the team, that's perfectly fine. If there is a native speaker on the team who may do most of the writing and other kids will do a little bit more research, that's fine too. Obviously, we will provide as much help as possible. So we have a number of adults, professors, who will be trying to help the children. They will be looking at their progress surveys every week, seeing what they do. And if there is something that seems like they need help, we will reach out to them and we'll try to guide them, and obviously provide guidelines to the parents as well. So, but yes, we would like them to act as if they are real business consultants, as if they are adult business consultants. So we'll see how it goes. Now, when they will be working in teams, there will be a weekly progress survey every week due on Sunday. So they will receive the link for the week, for that week's progress survey on Wednesday, and they will have like 5 days to complete the survey. It takes only a few minutes, so they can do it anytime on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday. But we would like to hear from them every week. And so those progress surveys will take only a few minutes to complete, but they will have 3 components. One, we will ask them to submit what the team has completed so far. So we want to see how they are progressing with the task. And obviously, initially, it will be just a few words, but then a little bit more, and then maybe a couple of pages. And then towards the end, they will have more completed. And again, we would like to know what's going on, how well they're progressing. Do they need any help? Do they know how to answer the questions? If it looks like they're lagging behind, we will try to provide additional coaching and help. Then we will also ask them to evaluate the performance of every team member. So there will be what we call peer evaluations. And so that's where we will ask each child or student to evaluate all the other team members. How friendly they are, how hard they work, Do they communicate with the team? So things like that. And so we will then look at those evaluations and we'll know who is perhaps, in a need of help. Like, for example, let's say we look at this list of students and we have students like, for example, let me see who is here. So we have Casey, and Casey gets all 5s, and then Kizzy gets all 5s, and Babu gets all 5s. But then, for example, maybe there is one team member who gets low peer evaluations. So the team says that he is not communicating, that he's not working hard, and perhaps he is not even being friendly. And so in that case, we will reach out to that team member and we will try to see what's going on and maybe provide some coaching and help. And if the situation does not improve, if we try and the student is not working hard still, is still being not very friendly to the team, maybe even at some point we'll have to exclude that person from the team. So hopefully that will not happen, but you never know. The third component will be just tell us what's going on in your team in your own words. And that's probably the most important part of the weekly survey. We will read those comments very carefully. And so we would like to make sure that the teams are doing well. And so numeric answers are good, but it's always better to read the basically open-ended answers to the open-ended questions. And so if this, again, student tells us everything goes fine and we worked on this and that and I like it, we are happy. But then again, if the comments are more, worrisome, if the student says, oh, I had a conflict with this student, or I don't know how to answer this question, or we are having a difficult time scheduling a, Skype conversation, for example, then obviously in that case, we will try to help them. So then at the end, they will submit their reports. And again, the expectations are different for different age groups. For the youngest ones, as long as they give us a few pages with some answers, we're happy. Obviously, we want better answers, but again, we don't expect too much from the youngest participants. The older ones will be expected to write more, and so for the students, university students, the page limit is 20 to 30 pages. So we cannot allow them to write more, so they have to keep it short, but also it has to be more than 15 pages, so it has to be more like 20, 30. So for the high school students, like 15, 16-year-olds, we will probably expect roughly the same length as from the university students. It may not be as insightful, as detailed, but still I have no doubt they will have no difficulties putting the text, enough text together. Shorter is better always, so don't push them to write too much. So it's more about the content rather than the quantity. So they will submit the reports. We will send them to the teams, to the clients. The professors will read them, and so the students will get some feedback from the professors as well as from the client organizations. And then we will have 4 weeks of kind of reflection and presentation. So we will try to schedule a conference like this one, where the teams will be able to present their work to their client organizations. So they will present, maybe somebody, one person per team, or maybe several people per team, will basically tell the clients what they propose they do with those toys or with those private schools. And then obviously we will send the students the certificates. They will look something like this. And then in addition, the students will also get recommendation letters. We hear so many stories from the students, from the university students, who tell us something like this. They say, I was, for example, on the job interview, and it was not going so well. There were 25 other candidates, and everybody looked good. But then I mentioned that I have an experience working in an international team, and I completed a project, and I showed them my certificate, I showed them my reference letter, and they're like, whoa, tell us more. This is so interesting. We've never seen anyone who's done it before. And so that's what we want. So when your children will be applying to maybe universities, or maybe to private schools, or maybe for stipends or scholarships, so we want them to have a resume that nobody else has. So where they can say, I completed a project in an international team. I worked with people from all around the world. I completed a business project for a real company, and I basically worked as a real consultant for a real business company. And so this is my certificate, this is my reference letter, and so they will look so much better than anybody else who applies for that job or that scholarship or that internship or wherever else they apply. And so our hope is that that will help them, launch a successful career. And then finally, the children will be asked to write a little reflection paper. Again, for the youngest children, the expectation will be very I don't want to call it low, but obviously we don't expect from them, you know, a dissertation. So just a few pages where they describe their experiences, what they have learned, what they would do differently if they had to do it again. So basically a reflection on the experience and trying to use it for the future projects. For the older ones, obviously, we'll expect a little bit more in-depth, insightful comments. But the idea there is that they will, again, write something. If it's good, maybe we will even try to publish it someday. I mean, if the child, you know, has interesting observations, good insights, recommendations for members of global virtual teams, I don't know, maybe we'll even write sometimes like a book chapter or something. But it's more for the students themselves. So we don't want them just to leave, you know, submit the report and that's it. So we want them to also think about, you know, the experience that they went through. And yeah, so in the end, they will submit those reports. We will provide some feedback, and that will be basically it for the active phase of the project. Two more things will happen later on. One, we have twice a year the X-Culture Symposium. So we've had them all around the world, and so this year we will have one in Italy, in Macerata, in July, late July. So Macerata is a small city, if you know where Italy is. So if Venice is here, Rome is here, Macerata is right in the middle. And so they believe that they are the cradle, the home of opera. Kids, do you know what opera is? You know, like when a woman or a man is singing on the stage. So Macerata is believed to be the home, like that's where the opera idea, the whole, you know, concept was invented. And so the good thing is that that symposium will be in Macerata right at the time when they have the annual opera festival. So they say that everybody will be singing in that, you know, during that week in the city. And basically, so we will even go to the opera. They have this big open, you know, stage, and we will go and visit even, you know, opera in the heart of the opera, you know, like in the capital of the opera, you know, world capital of opera. And so obviously we'll have meetings with all kinds of companies and meet entrepreneurs and politicians. The mayor of the city will give us a welcome speech, and we will have one of the meetings at actually like at the house where the mayor works, like literally in his office. So the gala dinner will be in the mayor's office. So we will have like a VIP reception there. And so we will have quite a few students, you know, older students, but we will also invite the best, you know, children of the best, from the best teams to that event as well. And then the next one will be in Nashville, in Tennessee, here in the United States. Actually, surprisingly, it's also a music capital. So Nashville is the home, the capital of the country music, and so that's basically where all of the music industry of the United States is headquartered. So most of the recording studios, label studios are in Nashville. And so we'll again have all kinds of meetings there and invite members of the best teams, both university students, but also children. And so hopefully we'll have a good educational time. And finally, the best students, and we will have to see if the children will be ready for that. But we have this, what we call the coaching program, where the most, what do you call them, basically the best students from the last semester become coaches to the next generation of X-Culture students. So those who did very well, those who were very wise and articulate and were good leaders, they will have a chance now to serve as coaches, as mentors, as kind of bigger brothers, if you want to call it that way, and sisters, or managers to the new generation of teams. So they will share their wisdom and experience. And so those, especially the older ones that will do well, will be offered to participate in the coaching program. But that is too early to, you know, it's still too early to worry about that. So it will be for the fall. And so we usually try to have about 30, 40 coaches. And so maybe we'll even invite a couple of children to be in that program. All right, so that's briefly about where we stand. So questions, please. Anyone? When there are no questions, you know what it means, right? No questions means only one of two things. Either everything is clear or nothing is clear. So which of the two is that? So
everything is clear.
Yes.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. All right, but still, so the most important things at this time are the following. So yesterday I sent you the link to the page with the project materials, and let me show that page to you now, just one second. I have multiple screens and I need to select the right one. So I send you the link to a page that looks like this. Let me just type it in. And so it's critically important that you start reviewing those materials with your children. So the address is xculture.org 1, and you have the access code 2018-1. And so once you're on this page, you will see all of the materials so you will have all of the materials for the first week for the training of the students. So you will have several short videos, like each of them is about 3 minutes, and you just click on YouTube here, for example, and you just watch it. Like, for example, let me see if it's going to work. So yes, basically.
This is Alex. Alex is still in school and wants to go to the best.
So it's a simple video, like a cartoon. The children hopefully will like cartoons, and so they will watch it. And the videos explain to them what XCulture is and how it works and what they need to do to succeed. And then there is also a training module. It's a PDF file. It's not very complicated, but it may need, you as a parent may need to help the youngest ones to go through this document. And here there is some information about the project and why we do it and what they need to do. And then for the parents, there is also a much more detailed document that is called the XCulture Academy Handbook. And so this one, that's where you will have all the answers to all of your questions, and it's very detailed. The children obviously are welcome to read it, especially if they're older. But oh, you don't see my screen? It says here that my...
Yes, I want to say that I don't see your screen.
So let me try again, just a second, because yeah, I just got a message here that people don't see the screen. So let's try it one more time. So you see it now, right? Can you see the screen now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Yes.
So that's the page that I was talking about. So here you have, as I said, all of the training materials. And so you have, so you go to xculture.org 2018-1. You have the email. I sent an email to all the children and all the parents to make sure that everybody gets it. And so for each week, you will have a bunch of training materials. So this week, it's all about the project. So the children have to understand what they got into. And so, as I said, there will be several short videos, like 3 minutes. Some of them are even less. And then there is a document that they need to read. It's like 9 pages or something like that. And then there is an additional training package for the teachers and students. I mean, for the teachers and parents. And older students, those who are 15, 16, might want to read it as well. And then next Monday, you will have access to the next week's training modules. And then a week after that, you will have access to the third week training modules, and so on and so on and so on. So that's something that you need to do right away. So start looking at those videos, start looking at those materials, work with your kids. And then on Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, you will receive an email with a link to the weekly theory test. And so your children will have to take that test. It is sort of okay if you help, but you should not give the children the answers. You should help them more in the sense that, if they don't know an answer, maybe you will tell them, well, remember you saw that video, do you want to maybe watch it again? The answer should be there. And so kind of guide them that way if your children are very young. So for the older ones, it's not that difficult. I have no doubt that they will do well and will not really need your help. Yeah, that's basically what you need to do this week. And there were a couple of emails that bounced back, meaning that they didn't work. So when I sent out the handbook and the link to the training materials, the emails didn't go through. So there were, I believe, 2. So if you did not receive an email from me, it's possible, or it actually came from the XCulture administrator. So it's my assistant who sends them out. So if you didn't receive anything within the last like 12 hours or so, send us an email and we will check. Maybe we have our own email for you on our record. So send one either directly to me or just go to exec@xculture.org. So I'll type it here in comments so you can see xculture.org. And so all your questions will be answered. So I'll send it to everyone. All right, so any other questions? Do we have anyone else who did not introduce themselves? Would you like guys to say a couple of words? I see Evgeny Serpilov. Zhenya, would you like to say a few words about yourself, who you are, how old you are, where you are? We met Kizi, we met Tatiana, sort of.
Yeah, Tatiana, it's now my student, my student.
Okay, nice to meet you, Tatiana. So Evgeny disappeared, but that's okay. Maybe some technical difficulties. All right, well, I think we are pretty much done then. So I'm not sure if there is anything else I need to cover. So you have that detailed Xculture Academy handbook. So if you have any questions as parents, as teachers, I think we have answered all of them there. It's a long and boring document, but on purpose. As I said, it goes into much detail on every issue. So this way, if you have any questions, that's your, one-stop source of answers. But again, even after that, if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me anytime, and we will try to help you. All right. Okay, well, I think we're going to stop here. Thank you, everyone. So first week, theory, read it with your children, make sure that they know it, and then wait for Wednesday to receive the link to the children's personal test links. Each child will receive a unique link, so each link is different, and the name of the child is encoded in that link. So make sure that you use the right link, so only the one that came to you by email. So don't use a friend's link, because the system will think that it was your friend who completed the test. So it has to be you and only you, children. As I said, parents can be involved and help, but not, no cheating. So it's not a test of parents, it's a test for children. And so children have to do it on their own, maybe with some help from the parents or guidance from the parents. All right, well, very nice to meet you. And yes, there is a question? Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Here in Austria, we have the problem basically that the semester starts 6th of March, I guess. So I told the teacher that he can send you the email addresses of the students, and they will prepare for the readiness test themselves. And I will have a kind of introduction later on in March with them. Is that okay?
That should be fine. So the theory can be covered much faster. You don't really need 4 weeks for that. So we expect that the children will spend probably around 2 hours per week, maybe working on the project. So they will exchange some emails when they work in teams, and they will do some research. So maybe the most I don't know, motivated ones will work maybe for 3 or 4 hours a week, but it shouldn't take too much. With the theory, as you see, for example, here, for the first week, we have 4 videos. Each one of them is about 3 minutes long. And so that will take them, like 12 minutes to watch them, maybe 15. And then they have a document that is about, 9 or 10 pages. And so it shouldn't take them, again, more than an hour to read. So if somebody's semester starts a little later, I suppose it's fine, as long as they are willing to work a little harder in the last week or so and cover whatever they missed so far. The important thing is that, again, they come in prepared, and then once they are on the teams, that's when they really, really have to take it seriously. So no exceptions. They have to work and communicate every week. Not necessarily every day, but they have to communicate as much as possible. And so that's where it will be very, very critically important that they work actively. Before that, we can be a little lenient, and if they need a little extension, we can work with them.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Sintim, did you have a question? You need to unmute your microphone. Let me do that for you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Is it too late for others to join now?
No, it's not. Well,
it's not too late.
It's for everybody. It is sort of late. But if it's a person who comes recommended by one of our own, obviously, as long as you know that they will be ready to catch up. No, it's not too late. Yes, absolutely, they can still. All right. Yes, no problem. Yes.
All right.
So yes, if you have any friends. Only if you know that they're very serious, only if you know that they're motivated and they will have no difficulties, catching up with the rest of the team, we can still accept participants. So same applies, by the way, to the parents and teachers. So if you have a friend, if you have a neighbor or other parents in your school or teachers who would like to participate, they need to apply as soon as possible, because again, the project has started today. So it's okay if they're a few days late, but they need to apply as soon as possible, and they need only recommend people or talk to the people whom are ready to start right away and catch up quickly with the things that they missed. And so hopefully that way it will work fine. Or they can apply for the next semester. But this one will be the most fun because it's the first one. It's inaugural. So when this program becomes as big as the university program and everybody will be giving us awards and will like us, you will say, I participated in the very, very first round. Like the 7 professors who participated in the very first round of Xculture in 2010, all 7 still participate every semester. And those students by now have become like big bosses and, have their own companies and managers. And many of them still stay in touch with us. So the first round in 2010, that was, very special. We've had much bigger, groups, and we've had people from all around the world ever since. But those first participants, they're still very, very dear to us. And so we had the United States, Canada, Japan, Pakistan, Colombia, Germany, and I may be missing one country or so. But that was a very good run, and so this one will be also very special. Well, there is only one more thing that I need to say, and this is very, very important. So this is critically important. XCulture is not a business. XCulture is not a service provider. So the teachers, parents, and even children, even students, sometimes you go to a store, or maybe, like an online store, and you buy something. And you pay someone whatever money you pay, and they give you a product, and that's the end. So basically you pay them, they deliver a service or sell you a product. So you are the customer, and they are basically the business, the sellers, the service providers. It's not like that with XCulture. We are not a business. We are not a service provider. We do not work for you. We work with you. So we are all partners. So that means several things. One, if something goes wrong, and there will be things like, for example, maybe sometimes in the documents you see some typo, or maybe sometimes you see that the format of the document is not something that you can open, or maybe sometimes there is a little delay with something. So you are a partner in this, or not business, in this organization, in this network. So if you see a problem, instead of getting upset, your job, or we expect you to help. And so your job here is to tell us about the problem and we'll fix it, or better yet, help us fix it. So if you see something that is not right, like for example, maybe Zoom is not the best tool for for webinars. Well, tell us about that, and maybe we will use something different. Maybe you have an idea. Or when you are reading the document, maybe something is not clear, or maybe the grammar is not correct. Tell us, or better yet, send us the correct, wording or proper grammar, and we will fix it. Maybe you see that there is not enough, guidance on this or that. Again, either tell us, or better yet, say, I can help you with that. So as I said, we are a partnership of professors from all around the world. And so there are probably 400 professors, university professors, who help us and participate either every semester, or some participate like once a year. But that's the same thing with teachers. That's the same thing with parents, and even with students. So you are an equal partner in this enterprise, in this organization. And so you are expected not to complain, but to help when something is not right. And at the same time, as a partner, I'm not your boss, I'm your partner. So if something is wrong, you have the right to tell me about that. And if you see a better way to do it, not only do we expect you to do that, but you have the right to do that as well. So you literally can, behave as if it's part of your own business, I guess, or organization. Because, pretty much everybody who has ever participated in XCulture, they never leave. So people keep participating in all kinds of capacities. So they help us launch new programs. They help us do new things. They help us redesign our website. So all those kinds of things. In fact, if you look at the map behind me, so those are different things, programs that we do now. So when the whole thing started, we just had one XCulture. And now we are experimenting with all kinds of things like the XCulture Symposium and the XCulture Business Week, and Wikidemics, and MVP Prize, and Virtual TA Program. So all kinds of things, and most of those ideas came from the former participants, either from a former professor, from a former student, and so that's the whole point here. So you are part of the family. You are not, so I'm not your boss. You are not my customer. We are partners in this, and our common goal is to kind of prepare our children for the global world, because they will have to interact with internationals. They will have perhaps, co-workers at their company who are from a different country. Maybe they will do business in a different country. Maybe they will study in a different country. Maybe they will be completing projects with people from different countries. And so our goal is to prepare them for those challenges. And so we're doing it together. And that's why we are very lenient about the payments. First of all, the registration fee is fairly low. And then those who cannot pay, we always find ways to help them. Because as I said, we're in this business not for the money. So nobody's on the payroll. So everybody is helping. We sometimes pay people who help with specific tasks. Obviously, we cannot expect everybody to help for free. But again, it's a partnership. It's not a business. So keep that in mind.
May I have another question?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
In general, it's absolutely clear, but in details, I have one question. There are discrete questions and there are open questions. When we talk about these companies which produce toys or finish schools, it's not short discrete question. It's an open big question.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So the question is, how to divide the work in pieces? You can't eat the elephant at once. You need it part by part. So who is going to divide all the work and say, now you do this, next week you do this, you do this, then you do this, or how, who,
yes.
when?
This is a wonderful question. Let me just show you. So once the project starts, so you see my screen, right?
Yes.
And you see a big PDF file on the screen? So do you see something that says escape, like a big rain cloud?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay, good. So on the first day of the practical phase, the students will be placed in teams, and so they will receive what we call the challenge descriptions. And so this is an example of one from the company that is participating in the university track. So it's a little bit more detailed than what we will send to the students, but it will be a similar document for the students. And so this document will describe the company, the products, what they do, how they do it, and then it will have a detailed list of the questions with instructions how to answer them. Like, for example, section 1, analyze the market. And so they have a description. They even have here little links to the guides how to answer those questions. And so they will basically follow that protocol. They will even have the evaluation rubrics so that they know how the work will be evaluated. So they know upfront how the professors will evaluate their work, and so on and so on. So the second section here is about marketing. Again, you have a very detailed description of the question, and then so on, and evaluation rubrics. On top of that, we will also have, and I should have mentioned that, we will also have live webinars with the CEOs of the companies. So we will have it right at the beginning when the students are placed on teams. So we will have a webinar where you will meet the managers of the companies. In fact, in both cases, the owners of the company and the CEOs. And they will, again, tell the children more about the company and then explain what kind of help they're seeking from the students. The students will be able to ask questions and get answers. And so each company will have 2 webinars. So we will have one like right at the beginning, and then we will have one in the middle. That will be at the time when students already have something, but are still working on the rest. And so they will be able to ask more questions, to maybe share their ideas and get feedback. And so they will still have the time to use that feedback to improve their work. When it comes to who does what, that's exactly the purpose of the project, to put the students in the situation where they have to figure that out on their own, meaning that we will tell them precisely what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. But when it comes which team member does which part of the job, that's what the team will have to figure out on their own. XCulture is not a project where students learn how to write a paper. So that's something they can do in school. XCulture is a project where students learn how to write a paper as a team. And so that this interaction, that's what we're for here. So it's not so much about the actual answers that they will give, even though that is very important. But it's more about them learning how to deal with a project when you have a team and all those team members are in different countries. So they will have to learn how to deal with the cultural differences, time zone differences, meetings, as well as how to decide who does what. So they will probably do something like this, at least that's what happens with the students. So there is a question about marketing and there is a question about design. They will probably discuss them. They will probably all provide some ideas, and then they will say, well, who's going to write it up? And I don't know, maybe there is somebody who is a native speaker who speaks very well English and can write it well. And so maybe that person will do most of the writing. And maybe somebody is more inclined to do research and will say, okay, let me do some research online and see, for example, what other companies make toys. Or maybe they will divide it some other ways. So we will have a whole week of training on how to manage a team, how to be an effective team member. And we will tell them about, how team leadership can be structured. And so things that we know work and things that we know that don't work. And, problems that we know they may experience and how to deal with them. But ultimately, the whole purpose here is that the students will have to figure out for themselves, using the knowledge we will give them, but figure out for themselves how they want to structure their team and, how they want to lead the team. And so that's the most valuable part of the project. You will be surprised, by the way, how well they will do it. I mean, it sounds at this time like how my 12-year-old child will be able to do it. Yes, they will be able to do it, so don't worry. And if they have a difficult time first week, we will help them a little, and they will get a little closer to it next week, and then we'll give them a little bit more help. By week 3, they will all know exactly what they're doing, and they will definitely know, what to do next. Was that a good answer?
Yeah.
So don't worry, it will be all okay. So we've done it before, and so they will surprise you. They will do very well. All right, any other questions? Okay, well then, perhaps let's stop here. And so as I said, if any other questions come up, just send me an email or call me. And we will try to have meetings like this, maybe not every single week, but on a regular basis. So probably more like every week in the beginning, and then hopefully we will not have to meet every single week. So maybe like every other week in the middle, and then maybe again a little bit more frequently towards the end. And these meetings will be primarily for the parents and teachers. But again, students, if they, if they would like to attend, they're most welcome to do so. And so we will, provide a quick update on where we stand each week, and what happens next. And if questions, if you have questions, which you probably will have questions, we'll answer them. So we will keep you in good hands. And at this time, it may seem like a lot, but as I said, we've done it many times before, so it should be fine. All right, well, then good night for those of you who are in Europe, Asia, Africa. Have a nice day for those of you who are in the United States, Canada, and Latin America. So, and we'll be in touch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.